Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an awesome life. By the way, when you move into a new space, no matter how positive it is, because this is an amazingly positive space, it doesn't hurt to sage, white sage. Just go around and bless the home and, you know, tell any other energies that they need to leave if they're don't have your best interests in mind. And you could say that's superstitious, but everything's energy. So here's what I want to talk about today is if I believe that that has an effect on the other energies, then that's a reality I actually create, and it's real for me. Why does voodoo and all these other things work? Because there's a belief behind it that is real for the people who get involved in that, or what they believe or think about it. All right? And it can have some effects. So you can actually create certain things and have an effect, but the other person doesn't have to receive that. So if it's anything negative, it absolutely comes back on you. Whether they participated in it or not, absolutely is affecting you. So no matter what you send out there, if it is negative, it absolutely is happening to you, because we're one energy, and whatever you do to others, you're doing to yourself. All right, so here's what I believe, and I want to share this with you, because it seems to be more and more true, especially if you have ever studied or looked up near-death experiences, and there's some big ones out there. More and more people are coming out and talking about this, and we're talking about, you know, even Alexander, who was a brain surgeon and pretty much sort of an atheist, didn't really believe in all that stuff, is one of the biggest proponents of that. And then we have Dying to Be Me, which is an amazing book by, oops, I'm going to have to come up with that. I'm drawing a blank here. Morjani, her last name, Anita Morjani. I'm pretty sure it's Anita Morjani. Morjani, I'm getting that right. Another amazing person, stage 4 cancer, had literally minutes to live, and somehow not only came back, but was cured. So when we go into that space over there, where there is nothing, there are no blocks, there's no worries, there's no fears, there's nothing. We go over, that's how the healing can happen, because we can actually do that here. What happens is we're going into negative spaces, so we're actually creating diseases. It's the opposite of miracle healing. You go into awakened space, you're connecting to that miracle healing. You go into a negative space, you're creating disease. So same thing happens with what you're putting out. So here's what I believe. The experiences of people that have had near-death or death experiences, they actually died. Some of them actually were in the morgue and came back like hours later, okay? They had no signs of life in them at all, because we animate our bodies. We decide if we're going to come back in our body or not. So the responses, there's always some similarities that are pretty strong, but what I've noticed is that the experience suits the person experiencing it. All right, the experiencer, beliefs about the world, their religion, how things operate, actually are projected into that death experience. So yes, they meet their relatives, but they might meet Christ, or somebody might meet one of the Indian gods, you know, the beautiful, you know, spirit guides. American Indians might go over and meet a different type of spirit guide, and I've noticed that it seems to suit that person. Why? I believe that we are absolutely projecting everything. Everything. It isn't like, here's how it is, and we all go over to that. We're going into a different frequency, yes, but within that higher frequency, we still are working out our own frequencies and vibrations and learning experiences, and beliefs are projected into that. We actually create all of that there. Right, we do. So we don't have the same free will we do here, because over there we have to work through things. It's sort of like, yeah, sorry, but you're here, and now we have to go through, you know, a life review and all these things, and there are some requirements over there. Why? Because our whole mission is to go back into the one. We came out to experience everything, just experience, and from the darkest depths to the, you know, most amazing miracles. We're experiencing it all. We are one energy doing that. You are one of those expressions. So herein lies the challenge. So if everything that happens in your life is based completely on your individual beliefs, not anybody else's, that's why when people argue, I'm like, knock it off, man, wasted time. That person believes what they do, and it is their reality. Whatever you believe is your reality. You don't have to impose that on other people. That's that individual ego arguing and stuff that we get caught up in. That's separatism, and that is a super low frequency, by the way. That's exactly why this planet is in trouble. So we have to knock that off, right? All right, so I'm going to give you a little exercise. If everything you experience, and I believe it is, based on every thought, every belief, every action, all generated by you through choice. So you get experiences as a human, you get experiences as the collective consciousness, you get energy and information, but you still get to choose within that where you're going to go, which path you're going to take. If you break through, you get an epiphany, you know, and then you make a choice. Will you stay over here or go over here? Right? A lot of you going through that right now. I'm sensing it big time, that there's a real struggle going on with some of you in the third dimension, and you're not pulling out. I'm hearing these emails coming over, and I'm hearing you not pull out. You're staying in there and being the victim and helpless, so you create that reality, and it is true. Absolutely, you're stuck in a relationship that's abusive. You can't leave. You have a soul contract. Okay, that's your reality, and it will not change until you change that belief, because you have freedom, and there's no judgment in that. There's no punishment in that. You just get to switch into whatever you want. What do you want? Right? Make it so. Go into that space. People ask me, well, what do I have to do to believe it? There's nothing you do to believe it. You believe it. You let go of all the other stuff that you're believing and choose a different belief. Sorry, I've got my door open. Train's going by. I love that train. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I want you to pretend, we're going to envision this. I'm going to give you a robot. It has every capability of a human being. Every single capability. Now this robot is a clean slate. Every single thing that you do with this robot, which looks real, like a human, right, is programming. And you want this robot to be an amazing, pure, beautiful, loving being because it's existing in our world. I'm going to ask you, what would you do with that robot? You would be careful of absolutely everything. By the way, it also will pick up your thoughts. Now, if you walk in and you have a negative thought, that robot is now taking that negative thought in, and it's part of its programming. When you say something negative, that's part of it. It starts to program and become a person, a robotic person, based on every input that you put in there. Now, if you come in and you give it really negative music with, negative words, if you show it the news that the world's a really shitty place, or that these politics are right and they're wrong, and if you program this robot, what do you think is going to happen? It will be exactly like the really effed up human species that we have been. Right? It has no choice. It's programming. It's no different for you. You are the robot. You are being programmed because this body and everything that you see that appears to be material is not you. It's an energy expression. But this dissolves. If it was real, it'd always be here. You, the spirit, is always here and always will be. It never was nothing, and it always will be something and everything and nothing all at the same time. It always existed, and it always will. But this body doesn't, which means it's just a robotic facade. Now, the programming that you give it is absolutely now creating its own reality. So if it believes a certain thing because you programmed it, it's going to act and react in a certain way. So if you tell it that it will never be financially abundant, it will live and operate and take actions based on that information. So that robot now is going to not go after the higher jobs. It's not going to get the right education. It's not going to put in the effort. It's going to make excuses. It's going to start to program, how can I self-sabotage? How can I sabotage all of the things that would make me wealthy? Because I've been programmed to not be wealthy. So now I have to do certain things that a non-wealthy person would do, and so that robot will start to act that way. Until you reprogram it. That's you. It's no different. So if you're thinking and believing, and through those thoughts, you tell this robot, that's its program. It will know nothing else until you reprogram it. So then you have to come in and say, you have now the opportunity to stop being that broke person, and so you will find all opportunities and, now resonate on a frequency where opportunities will arise, and you will take action toward them. You will never doubt yourself. You will always go after them. The robot goes, okay, switching, and then it goes into it. And it becomes wealthy because now it has been programmed to operate under the assumption that everything I do now must be a wealthy person because I'm programmed for that, which means wealthy people don't question. They don't question their ability to make money. They don't consider anything failure. Failure is called expansion. They take action constantly. They enjoy going after their wealth, whether it's on a high or low frequency. We're not going to go into that. We're talking about final results here. And all these things come into place. They will go, okay, here are 5 billion choices. Boom, boom, boom. I'm abundant, I'm wealthy. I'm going to choose this one. Oh, if I'm programmed to be broke, I'll choose this one. This is what your brain's doing. And your spirit world, the energy, is the programming that you are getting to choose to put into this automaton that we are. So you get to choose what programs you put in front of this body, what you're doing with it, those games, those negative games. Let's program negativity. Ooh, World War III, I've seen that one. I saw it out there. I saw one thing. I said, this is what the hit is being pushed on these kids. World War III, and they're programming them. Are you watching it? Are you looking at it? Are you allowing yourself to be programmed that it even exists? Because your reality will be true for you. It will happen. Because everything you think and believe is coming into manifestation. Because you are the robot creating it at every moment. And you don't know anything different because that's your programming. That's how humans operate. Now, when you go to the other side, there are absolutely no limits. It's like, wow, that was a weird experience. And I believe when you go over there, you carry all these beliefs. So be careful with that. If you're attached to things, that energy goes over, right? That energy coming from this, you carry it with you. So if especially people with addictions and stuff can stay in a lower frequency if they went over. They have to work that out. You don't just get your wings the minute you step over there. Many people who've crossed over are far from awakened. We know that those frequencies range over there. So what do you believe and you take over continues on. This is why it's so important for us to get that programming. Program yourself to be successful, to be loving, to see the world in a positive way, because it will be your world. And no one can tell you different. No one can tell me different. Now I know what's going on, and I know that other people are choosing different realities, but it's not mine. And I know it's real for them, and I know that reality actually does exist. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying it doesn't exist for me because I'm choosing a different one. I'm programming myself differently. Because as humans, we are up against some very challenging, let's just say, situations. Tests. Here you go. What are you going to do with it? So I'm awakened over here, and then there's all this stuff going on. No, that's the part that awakens you. You're getting the test. What are you going to do? Are you going to program yourself in the highest way? Or are you going to go into that darkness and say, this shouldn't be happening, poor little me, blah, blah, blah. And we do it. We've all done it, felt sorry for ourselves. I have. That's what makes us human. We have to go through that and experience that to know that that's just bullshit. Sorry, I'm swearing a little bit today. But it is. It's a story. And it came from programming. It's whatever you chose to expose yourself to, including what you chose to come over in, because it's a test for you to say, you got abusive parents, now what are you going to do? Because in another role, maybe you were the abuser, to see if they could forgive you. Now you get to forgive them. That's it. Don't make anything complex out of this. It's all choices. Higher, lower, higher, lower. What do I expose myself? Boom. Everything's going to go off of that. The thoughts, they snowball. More negative thoughts, the actions, the frequency, resonating with other negative frequencies. So you're going to be up against the other negative frequencies who yeah, woo-wee, party down here. Let's all stomp on each other. Because that's what goes on in those lower frequencies. So you got to pull out of that, and you've got to pull out of that now. Make the higher choice, man. Some of you got B-floss. Bless you, man. I have seen you transition. Your comments are so different. And you always knew, but you still had that stuff going on. And I know you still experience it, but you're making different choices now. You know, you see it as a false programming that you don't have to believe anymore. I see those comments coming over, and I feel it. He knows what it is now. It's always going to be there. That stuff's always out there. Like, I see stuff too. I know it's there. And I'm on this planet with those realities, so I'm going to see it. But it's not mine. So you get to program yourself. If you were the robot, what would you expose it to? It's a clean slate. It could be the most amazing, beautiful thing. It could actually sprout wings. It could sprout wings. And walk around, and some people might see it. Some people might see you with wings when you get to that point. You might feel like you have them. That's real stuff. It doesn't have to be in a physical world all the time. But you can't get them unless you act like you've got them, right? You have to believe you've got them, and you have to be the angel. You have to be the higher frequency. How are you programming your robot? Everything is real for you. That will be your reality when you go over. That will continue to be your reality. So if you believe in Christ, if you believe Christ is the Savior and whatever, Christ might meet you. How amazing is that? Jesus was a real person, right? That's not his energy. Well, I'm sure that's not what he really looks like, but he'll look like that to those who want to meet him when they go over, because they'll know who he is, right? Because they're really just all light beings. I've got 3 light beings with me at all times. One's feminine and 2 are masculine. She's in the middle. They're pretty big. They flank her. And I've talked to them before. I don't know what they look like. They're light beings. But I've seen them. I've envisioned them. I've experienced them in meditations. I've experienced them in theta dream states. They've told me things. They tell me things while I'm awake. And so, years ago, I'd be locked up. But we can talk about this now. Why? Because we wield those powers. It's true. They're real. And we don't get to be locked up anymore. We get to use those powers. And you get to use them. But if you don't believe them, they won't be true for you. I'm not getting answers. I'm not getting... Okay. When you decide that you have the power to get these things, you'll get them. It's really that simple. I know, it doesn't seem like it sometimes, right? Ugh. Yeah. So, you're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. I hope you had fun with this. What are you programming your robot to be and do and think and become? Namaste.